I am your host, FatDag. You're listening to Wise Advice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at fatdag.com. Follow along on Twitter and Instagram at Wise Advice. Send in your comments, your questions, and your celebrations, and I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, hello. Welcome to episode 51 of Wise Advice. It's an honor to be here with you again and just happy to just be healthy and be in shape and share this with you. And I want to open the show by just continuing to say thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in. It's what makes this great is that you send in the emails and you provide the content. And I just tell you what I would do in this scenario and just continue working it together. And I really appreciate all that. And I want to open up real quick with Nina. Nina writes in and says, I just finished listening to episode 50 and you asked us to send in our why. Well, here's mine. At age 57, I'm the youngest of 9 children. Only 7 are still living. We have an ugly family medical history. I've seen massive coronaries, heart bypass surgeries, heart valve replacement surgeries, several stent replacements, high blood pressure, high cholesterol issues. My why is for my health. I don't want to experience those medical issues. I don't want that for me. I don't want that for my husband. I don't want that for my children. And I don't want that for my grandchildren. That is my why. This is not my first time on Weight Watchers. I made Lifetime in 1997, but I didn't stay with it. I came back last June and I feel that I am where I belong. It's been a game changer for me this time around. With your support and others like you, connect in my local meeting, I can see myself making it back to my lifetime goal and staying there. I wrote in last March when I hit my 50 pounds. Since then, I've lost 5 more pounds. My goal weight is within eyesight. It's not always easy, but all I need to do is listen to your podcast to go to the Connect to get clarity. Thank you for all you do to help support others out there in their own journey. I know it is time consuming for you, but you're making an impact on us. Thank you, Nina, out of Newcastle, Indiana. Well, Nina, thank you. And it's an absolutely great why. And the show queue, I got about, generally if you write in, it's going to take me about a week or so to get it to the air, but yours really hit me and I kind of pulled it out of the queue and I said, I want to talk about this right now because our health is the only thing that really truly matters, right? When it comes right down to it, all the other reasons we want to lose weight are very important, but for our health really has to be up there. We don't get a lot of second chances here. And I put this on Connect the other day too, is, at some point when you go to the doctor, your diagnosis will almost always include you need to lose a little bit of weight, if you're overweight. And then as you get older, that diagnosis continues to include that. And I don't want me to go have an issue and go see a doc and he's blinded by the fact that I'm overweight and that's all he can focus on and that's all he recommends. So the fact that you want to take care of your health is an amazing accomplishment and you're doing fantastic. Sorry you had to live through the ugly family medical history. That certainly is not fun. But I believe you had to see that to get to your why and to frame it the way you have. You're going to be so much happier when you get back to Lifetime. And you're absolutely right. The Connect community is amazing. The support provided in there to let us know that we're not alone, that we each have, this cross to bear and that we're each working it together. I think a lot of times we think we're the only ones doing it. Connect proves that we're not. And Connect continues to show the community that it's possible and that it's doing it. So I love that your why is your health. Absolutely love that. And because when you solve that, you're going to get to a healthy goal weight. You're going to feel a million times better and you're going to have a much better chance of avoiding that ugly family medical history. And you've completely changed that story. So way to go. Thank you for your email. It's an honor to walk with you. Thank you. Next up, Marilyn writes in. She says, "Hi, Mike. Thanks for doing your podcast and thank your family for sharing us with all your time. It was 1 year ago that I reached my goal. I can't believe I've kept it off, and I feel like I can continue to do it as I navigate lifetime. The tools I now have and the support of everyone is amazing. I love listening to your podcast while flying to Asia, Europe, or the US. Flying for a living has its eating challenges. I don't have normal days. Time zone gaining and losing days, jet lag, etc. But I've made it work. So if I can do it, anyone else can. You are right. It takes focus and discipline. How bad do you want it? Thanks again for being our wingman, Marilyn. Marilyn, I couldn't agree more. And first off, I was kind of confused as I look at the show downloads, and I would often see downloads from Europe and Asia, and it just kind of confused me as to, I'm like, well, that's great. I'm glad we're on, multiple continents, but it kind of confused me. So now I know where that's coming from. So thank you for being out there, for that. That's pretty cool. But here's what I say, congratulations on 1 year. That is significant in your journey. I believe once you get to the 1 year mark, I'm coming up on mine in September. I believe when you get to the 1 year mark, you've lived an entire life as a new person. And so now you've understood an entire year, at that goal weight, and you're different. And that 1 year, you've experienced every holiday. You've experienced, a lot of weekends. So you're on track. And the statistics show that once you hit that 1 year, it's significantly easier to keep it off. So absolutely congrats on that. And when you say you can't believe it, you can hardly believe it. Well, absolutely believe it, because you're working it. You've done it. You don't need to believe it. You're living it, and you're doing fantastic. So if your routine, it includes flying, and if your job description says that you fly every week, well, then you've got to figure out a way to make that work. Now, for some people who fly once in a lifetime, sure, they may have to, their plan's going to be differently. But if your daily, if your job description includes flying all the time, you've done it right. You've absolutely had to figure out how to work it in. So great job on that. And that's the beauty of the program. The program works if you work it. It can be done from anywhere. You just have to stay focused. You have to, just like you said, you have to want it more than anything. When they walk down the aisle and say, well, you like peanuts, you have to say, no, I'd rather make goal. Thank you. And when you have that mindset, it's a lot easier to win. So great job, Marilyn. Congrats on 1 year. Proud of you. Now we're going for year number 2. You can do it. If you made 1 year, you can make 2. It's the same deal. So congratulations on that. Out of Fort Dodge, Iowa, Pamela writes in. She says, Dear FatDag, I love the podcast. They help keep me focused and going some nights on the treadmill when it's a struggle. It's all mental some days to even step on the treadmill, but I do it anyways. Thank you for being my wingman and keeping me focused on what this journey really means, and that's getting my life back. So I stepped on the scale yesterday, not expecting the best, but I did it to keep myself accountable. I was down big, 2.8 pounds for the week, bringing total weight loss to 75.4 pounds. I'm turning the corner towards goal and can start to see the finish line for my weight loss journey in the distance. I do have a question. I'm hoping you can touch on this in the podcast. My husband a few weeks ago asked me about when I got to goal if I would want to get rid of my loose skin, a tummy tuck, and other things that go with that, what I like to call mommy makeover. I'm not a good candidate for surgery due to poor prior medical history, and I think I've waved this question off for now, but I'm sure it will come up again. I know he's trying to be supportive, but then he likes to brag now that I weigh less than he does, and he's at the heaviest he's ever been. This is my second go at Weight Watchers, and I know it's going to be my last, as I'm making it work this time and not focusing on the weight loss as heavily as I did last time. So my question is, how do you handle these questions that pop up when you're at odds with someone else about your weight loss and what you ultimately want to look like? The topic has been a struggle for me for the past few weeks and hasn't allowed me to focus on what is really important, and that's getting to a healthy weight. Thanks again for all you've done, and to keep doing the podcast. I love them, Pamela. Well, Pamela, it just ties into the very first question, right? This is all about your health. If we do this for anybody else, if we do this for any other reason but our health, we can have success. We can reach a goal, but we have to do it for us in order to make it stick. And so, how do you dodge the question? And I'll start first off is, hey, I'm way more comfortable with loose skin than tight skin, in my sense, because my tight skin there was a lot of it. I would rather have loose skin than extra fat. So I am completely comfortable and confident that I can cover my loose skin with a t-shirt and there's no need for surgery in my world. Every single person gets to make that decision for themselves. That's the decision between you and your doctor. And that's really where the conversation needs to lie. Now, your supportive spouse and they have opinions for sure. But it doesn't matter what their opinion is. You take their opinion, you apply it in and you evaluate it, but you still get to make your own decision because it's your journey. And whatever you have to do, you have to be happy with. And that is the ultimate goal here, is complete happiness. Now, I tell you, for a long time, me and most of us who are here, we've neglected our bodies. So the idea that we can lose this weight and have a perfect 10 body is long gone, because for 24 years, I didn't take care of the body I had. So I certainly can't expect in a year for it to all of a sudden be this magical, this magical thing. So I'm just happy with what it looks like right now. Sure, it could have been better, but 24 years, I didn't care. I can't suddenly turn that care switch on and expect it to be perfect. So I'm just saying, you know what? This is what it is. And so I'm just going to continue to work it the way that I'm working it and not worry about that detail. So that's what I want you to focus on. I want you to focus on exactly what you said, is that you're staying and you're doing it for your health. And so it's your second time. I know it's going to be your last, and you said it's going to be your last, and that's fantastic work. When the question comes up, you simply say, man, I feel healthy the way I am. I really like being healthy. And it's not about that. And just see where that conversation goes. So great question. I think it's something we're all going to have, an issue dealing with at some point. It comes up in the meetings all the time. Because, we see, the magazines don't do us any favors, right? They show the people. But first of all, that's a little bit of Photoshop. And second of all, those are people that for their entire lives, they've dedicated to being fit and healthy. We didn't do that. So we can't expect to have those results. The best we can expect for is to just continue to get the best results we have. We're lowering our blood pressure. We're lowering our health risks. That's where the true value comes in. So great job on your 2.8. Great job on your 75.4. That's absolutely amazing work. And I'm glad to be walking the treadmill with you. Thank you for taking me along with you. And let's talk about your husband. Let's get him tuned into the podcast. Let's get him onto Connect. And let's say, hey, put your money where your mouth is. If you want me to do this, well, when you get to your goal weight, then we'll have the conversation together. Let's do that. Very, very cool. Robin out of Washington State writes in, she says, I looked for a Weight Watchers podcast last year because I like to listen to podcasts when I work out. All I could find was folks marketing their services or products and approaches that didn't fit with Weight Watchers. Your podcast is so refreshing for that, but also for your approach. I've been a listener since the beginning, and thank you. My celebration, I've lost 20 pounds in a year, and I'm still here, still working the program, despite a very long plateau. I'm sure I will find an approach that lets me lose the last 20 pounds. My friend and I joined around the same time, and we decided to hang in there no matter how long it takes and support each other. And your podcast is very helpful. Thank you, Robin. Robin, 20 pounds. Yay. How cool is that? When's the last time you lost 20 pounds on accident, right? It just doesn't happen. To lose 20 pounds, you got to stay focused. You got to stay disciplined. You're clearly getting it done. Now, let's talk about your plateau. Right? We talked about that. At plateaus, there's only a couple ways to break a plateau. One of them is to gain weight. The other is to maintain and persevere, which is exactly what you're doing. I do want you to focus on your blue dots. I do want you to look and take an honest assessment. Is it a true plateau? And it may be. Or is it complacency? Generally, when people are riding a plateau for as long as you sound like you are, there's some complacency built in. 20 pounds down, you feel great. You look great. There's no doubt you look great compared to where you started. Is it where you want to be? If it is, then you're great. And then you can clearly say, I've made goal, but it doesn't sound like that. So here's what you do. You refocus. You refocus on your blue dot. You restart the program. You say, I'm in this. Because there is nothing like hopping on that scale for the very last time in a weight loss mode. You have the ability to get there. If you've lost 20 pounds, you can get there. You have support in a partner. You have support in Connect. you have the podcast and you're already working out. So let's tidy up the blue dots. Let's tidy up the eating side of it. Hang in there. Let's see where you go. And you have the ability to get there. Now, as far as the other podcasts out there, and I'm a firm believer, and that's kind of why I started this. And I don't have the desire to do that. That's not why I started it. It's not where I'm in. I get complete joy, in reading your email and hearing your stories. And I know when I was trying to lose my weight, I didn't have the support that I needed until I found Connect. And then the other thing I knew is that I need a daily reminder. My wingman early on, I give a huge shout out to him. I had one wingman. If you've listened for a while, I had one solid wingman. He emailed me every day. And every morning he sent me an email, and it was real simple. It was something like, "Dear Mike, hey, good morning. It's a great morning. Go get it." It was nothing more than that. But I woke up every morning to an email from him. I read it first thing, and it put me in the right mindset to want to go win. That's what I want this to be. And so when we start getting distracted by all the other, hey, buy this and do this, and, it just takes us away from what we're really trying to do, and we're trying to better ourselves. And so that's not ever my intent, is to do that. My intent is to keep you focused and keep you in the game. And so thanks for recognizing that. Great work on what you're doing. And I want to see you get those last 20 off. I know you can do it. I know you can get there. Let's go get it done. Next up, Deb. Deb says, "I want to take a moment to thank you for your podcast. I found out about it on Connect, a post a few weeks ago, and then pretty much binged listened until I'm now current. I have good focus and momentum right now, along with a superstar Saturday morning Weight Watchers leader. However, your podcast is like a daily booster shot of focus and encouragement. I enjoy listening so much that if it's not something that's highly useful now, since I'm doing well, I tuck it away for future reference when I may be struggling and I need it. I hit goal 6 weeks ago and achieved lifetime status this past Saturday. My goal weight is my total weight loss is 73.2 pounds, but I'm going to go down a few more pounds to get to my 75-pound bling. And more important than that, I think I will feel a little better, as my goal weight was a little on the high side. I am off all high blood pressure meds. I am now a runner. The running should help me stay focused, and as I'm keeping my eyes open to stop the complacency bug as it first appears, one thing I would like to pass on to the listeners, if you have a chance to work it in, is that you're not too old for either weight loss or fitness. I will be turning 52 in a few weeks, which will be 4 days after I run my first official 10K and 7 months after I started running using Couch to 5K app. I also just registered to run a half marathon. My dad called yesterday just as I finished a 7.5-mile run. When I told him how far I had run, I just signed up for a half marathon this coming fall. His response was, "Why are you still losing weight and doing all of this running? You're getting too old for it." This is the same man who made an issue of my weight as a child, calling me 2-ton. I just chuckled to myself and thought, some people are never happy. But I didn't do it for him, and I sure am happy with myself these days. I do have to admit, I asked ConnectLand before I began running if I was too old to start, and the answer was a unanimous, no, you're never too old. They were right. Thanks again, FatDag, and good focus to you, Deb. Deb, 73.2, and you reached goal in lifetime. Congratulations. Well done. And so you've experienced what I've talked about is, so 73.2 pounds, you set your goal weight. You're going for 75. So I want you to think about that. And I want the listeners out there to think about that. So if you hit goal, and when you hit goal and you step on the scale, everyone celebrates and you say, yeah, but I want to lose a couple more pounds. Keep that in mind when you set your goal weight. Your goal weight should be a place where you're completely happy and you completely say, I don't ever want to lose any more weight. Now, I know the 75-pound bling is kind of neat. I lost 91 pounds and I was tempted to see if I could get to 100 just to get that last charm. I would love to say, yeah, I lost 100 pounds. The reality is I just can't get there. I don't want to lose any more weight, even if for me, if that means getting an extra charm. So that's where I want you to get to. And it sounds like you're really close to there. So great job. You're off all your medicine. How cool is that? You're now a runner. How cool is that? Man, that is awesome. So I am glad that the daily talks are working. I'm glad you found Connect, and I'm glad you have an amazing superstar Saturday morning leader. You sound like you have a toolbox ready to go and you're on fire getting it done. So absolutely great job. You clearly focused your way to your goal weight. You clearly focused your way down to lifetime. You clearly focused your way to becoming a runner. And as a result, you're healthy. What better excuse is there? We started the show with a why saying, I just want to be healthy. And here you are at the very end of the show, proving to the beginning of the show that health is obtainable. The choices we've made over the past few years that may have deteriorated our health can be reversed. There's a lot of things we can reverse. Now, sure, we can't do it all, but we don't know unless we start making the chance now and start making the decision now to become healthy. And you've done that. You're healthier now than you were earlier. At 52 years old, you're running. That's great. That is fantastic. And let's go run together. I would love to be running with you. So let's do it. Thanks, Deb. Take care. Folks, what are you celebrating? Let's share it on the air. Let's go to fatdag.com. Click on listen now. Send in your celebrations, your comments, and your questions. I'll work them in as part of the show. If you want to go ahead and email your questions, and just tell me why you're proud. Tell me what you're doing. Tell me what your why is. I want to work in some more whys because I think the whys really shape what we're doing. It's wise advice, and it's WHYS because it's not about the smarts. It's about why are we doing this? And so if you know why you're doing it, the how shows up. The how just appears. You can get this done in many different ways, but if you don't know why you're doing it, you don't continue with that level of motivation to actually physically do it. The motivation comes from why. The discipline to do this comes from the why. The focus to do this comes from the why. So thank you for being engaged. Thank you for being here, but that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight, getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you good focus.